That's it.
License. Call to order the regular common council meeting, Monday, July 20th, 7 p.m. Roll call.
Maves.
Here.
McIntyre.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Thomas.
Here.
Mark Wellnut.
Yes.
Chris Wellnut.
Yes.
Next item is Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Confirmation of appropriate meeting notice.
Meeting was noticed on Friday, July 17th. Agenda is posted at BMO Harris Bank, the Post Office, Library, and City Hall.
Council acceptance of the agenda.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Personal appearances. Anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on anything that's not on the agenda? Go on to the minutes from July 6th.
I'll make a motion to consider the July 6, 2015 meeting minutes.
I'll second.
Consider or approve them.
Consider approval, sorry, thank you.
Any corrections or additions on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Finance Committee.
We met earlier here tonight. Make a motion to approve bills and payroll list in the amount of $201,163.33.
Second.
Any questions on the bills? Hearing none, roll call.
Mark Wellnut.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Chris Wellnut.
Yes.
Maves.
Yes.
McIntyre.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve a license for Randall, operator's license for Randall Wright.
I'll second.
That came from Finance with a 2-to-1 vote. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Mark Wellnut.
Yes.
Maves.
Yes.
McIntyre.
Yes.
Davis.
No.
Thomas.
Yes.
Chris Wellnut.
No.
Motion passes 4-2. You are approved. Yep.
I don't know.
Motion to approve a public event packet for the Edgerton Volunteer Fire Department Festival and waive the fees with the mayor agreeing to pay the police department overtime and for there to be no beer garden fence.
Not the mayor's not going to pay for it, but the association.
Here's recommendation.
I thought it was...
Well, not personally. I will second that, though.
Whoa.
The Volunteer Association.
There you go.
I'm sorry.
I heard it.
I was almost generous.
I heard it.
That was your monthly stipend.
Yeah, and then some.
Yeah, right. Yeah, maybe.
Isn't that nice?
I'm sorry. I should have questioned that. I knew that didn't sound right.
Maybe they won't be there as long as.
Yeah, maybe we won't need them after all, right?
All right. With the correction, I'll maintain that motion.
So any discussion? Any further discussion? Justin's here if you want to ask him any questions.
How it goes good.
Roll call.
Yeah.
No further questions? Roll call.
Mark Wellnut.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Chris Wellnut.
Yes.
Maves.
Yes.
McIntyre.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thanks for coming down.
There's one more,
Just the license now.
but it'll.
Motion to approve a temporary Class B license for the Edgerton Volunteer Fire Department on August 22nd.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Mark Wellnut.
Yes.
McIntyre.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Chris Wellnut.
Yes.
Maves.
Yes.
And that passes. Thanks.
Motion to award a bid for the West Side Industrial Park Stormwater Pond to Kraus Excavating in the amount of $52,505.
I'll second
502.
that.
So 505, 502.
$52,502.
Who seconded that?
I did.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Mark Walnuts?
Yes.
Chris Walnuts?
Yes.
Mapes?
Yes.
McIntyre?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yep.
Motion passes.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Plan Commission.
For the Plan Commission, motion to approve the second reading and adoption of City of Edgerton Ordinance 15-06, amending Section 22.503, parentheses 2, parentheses E, and Section 22.503, parentheses 1, parentheses N, to amend daily notice sign regulations.
Second.
If I could, there was, Bill, would you wish to?
Yeah, if I could just jump in here. I noticed in another read-through that there seems to be a Scrivener's error that should probably be corrected right now. If you have it in front of you, under sub 1, the precatory language there, third sentence in, it says, a sandwich board sign and a daily notice sign cannot be placed at the same customer entrance. I believe the intent is that it read a sandwich board sign and a on the building menu board sign cannot be placed at the same customer entrance. They're both daily notice signs, and to say a sandwich board and a daily notice sign is confusing and redundant. So I think the intent was a sandwich board sign and a on the building menu board sign may not be placed at the same place.
Good, that makes sense.
So replacing a daily notice sign with a on building menu board sign would be my suggestion.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, based on our meeting as to what we were discussing, that makes sense.
I would, at this point, we would need a motion to amend.
To amend it.
And then, once amended, assuming that passes, you would move on to the approval of the sign ordinance as amended.
I'll make the motion to amend if I can do so.
You may.
I'll second.
Any discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, roll call.
Mark Walnuts?
Yes.
Mapes?
Yes.
McIntyre?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yep.
Chris Walnuts?
Yes.
That passes.
Now we have to make the motion to
There's already a
approve it.
motion.
Oh, yeah, that's my motion. But didn't somebody second it? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Mark seconded.
okay.
Any discussion on the original motion to approve this? Any further discussion?
No, I'm just glad I don't have to read that all again, so thank you.
Roll call.
Davis?
Yes.
Mark Walnuts?
Yes.
Chris Walnuts?
Yeah.
Mapes?
Yes.
McIntyre?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yep.
Motion passes. And
And that's it for plan.
other than we're working on the comprehensive plan and spent a little time with that Thursday night, so, and there's a few more sessions involved, so everyone's welcome. Utilities.
I'll consider adoption of City of Edgerton Resolution 15-05, 2015, wastewater treatment plant compliance maintenance.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
McIntyre?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Mark Walnuts?
Yes.
Chris Walnuts?
Yes.
Mapes?
Yes.
Motion passes.
That is it for utility.
Oh,
Thank you. Well, the next three kind of go together here, don't they? Consider agreements with Quarles and Brady for the rural development anticipation notes and general obligation notes for 2015 borrowing. Is that yours?
We have, this is an agreement with Quarles and Brady, which is not necessarily with Kevin, but Quarles and Brady is our bond counsel, so this is an agreement for all related to the borrowing. Kevin Mullen is here in the audience to provide background information on the next two agenda items.
Do you need a motion for the Quarles and Brady?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion for the agreements with Quarles and Brady for the rural development anticipation notes and general obligation notes for 2015 borrowing.
I'll second that for discussion.
Motion second, discussion.
Yeah, I have a question. So I understand the Moody's A1 rating, or for the A1 for the general obligation. The note anticipation notes for MIG one, can you explain what that is in comparison to the A1? Is it just because it's note anticipation notes? I mean, how does that all work?
Sure. And when we discuss the two resolutions related to borrowing, I'll talk about that a little bit more detail, but that's a great question. MIG 1 rating is a rating for securities that mature in 1 year, basically a year and a half or less, which is what the note anticipation notes are. And so it's a rating that reflects your ability to remarket once that note comes due. So your ability to gain market access. And MIG 1 is the highest short-term rating.
Okay, that was my question. And the A1 is the highest? Or can you go to AA and AAA?
Correct.
Okay.
You can go all the way up to AAA.
Okay.
A1 for a community of your size.
Okay.
Very good rating.
Great.
We'll discuss that in a minute.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
So this is an existing bond that we have, and we're redoing the bond?
The item that you're considering right now is the agreement with the attorney. So that's the motion that's on the table. Your question is another good question that will be discussed when we get to the next two items on the agenda, which are the resolutions for the notes themselves. So maybe for ease and keeping the minutes straight, if we could deal with the Quarles and Brady thing and then get into all the questions regarding the borrowing would be great.
Any more discussion on the rural development anticipation notes and general obligation notes agreement?
No, the reason why I made a motion for this before we get into the thick of the questions that everybody's been asking is that we worked in the past, and you guys have been on top of the systems that happen out in Wall Street and all, the bond markets and stuff. That was the reason why I just keep going with you guys, and the questions will come later.
Anyone else? Roll call.
McIntyre?
Yes.
Chris Wellnuts?
Yes.
Mapes?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Mark Wellnuts?
Yes.
Motion passes. Next item is to consider adoption of City of Edgerton Resolution 15-06, authorizing the issuance of $7,850,000 general obligation promissory notes.
I'll make a motion to adopt City of Edgerton Resolution 15-06, authorizing the issuance of $7,850,000 general obligation promissory notes.
I'll second.
Discussion.
Great. Terrific. So yeah, if you don't mind, what I'd like to do is just talk about both of those resolutions together because they're very similar, obviously for two different purposes and two different amounts. But let's, if you don't mind, let's just refer to the Moody's rating report that came first, which you mentioned earlier. We received two different ratings from Moody's Investors Service for these borrowings because the borrowings are slightly different. The first rating that we received was for the long-term borrowing, which was the $1,250,000 GO promissory note. And that's the rating that you're most familiar with. You've never received a short-term rating because you've never had the need to, but you've been to Moody's before for a long-term rating. The A1 rating is what we expected, and for a community of your size and your demographic, that's, I think, the proper rating at the present time. If you look at the report, I think it's really important to note that the things that you have direct control over, you are managing very, very well. In terms of your finances, your fund balance, your debt load, the payback and maturity structure of your debt, all the things that you have direct control over, Moody's is giving you high accolades for. The two things that they would say that need quote-unquote improvement would be the general size of your tax base, which is very hard for you to control. You are who you are. You're generally rural community in suburban Madison and Rock County. So you're doing what you can to grow your tax base and diversify your tax base, but you are who you are. And it will take time to, really grow substantially, but you're making inroads in that regard. The other is just general wealth levels relative to the rest of the state. In order to move up in ratings, wealth levels would have to increase. And again, it's just a function of where you live. You're not in a really densely populated urban area where wages are extremely high. You're, in a more rural and suburban area. So again, the things you're managing well. The other thing that I think is worth noting relative to long-term rating, the folks at Moody's were very impressed by the fact that there's been longevity not only on the council and politically, but also in terms of your managerial staff. And that shows in the way that things have progressed. So you put into place a number of years ago, for example, fund balance policies that have now come to fruition. So slow growth, slow and steady, and all of a sudden you've got adequate fund balances that they're very impressed by. You've managed your TIF districts very, very well. Those have been long ongoing concerns. People on the council are very well versed in what's happening in those TIF districts, as well as, the plan that was laid out is the plan that's executed, and you've reacted when you had to. So, I think that's a really good reflection of what's occurring here in the city. Again, you referenced the MIG rating. The MIG rating relates to the $7,850,000 note anticipation note. The way that note is structured, the payback of that note will be the rural development loan. So the security for that loan is a loan that's going to occur later. So what Moody's cares about is that once this short-term note matures, that there's a way for that to be remarketed into the market. And they felt that you had very good market access, and so they gave you the highest short-term rating out there, which is a MIG 1. We felt both of those ratings were important to provide market access to your loans. So with that, I'll turn the attention from the Moody's report, unless you have any questions, to the two resolutions. So the first resolution is the $7,850,000 note anticipation note. What that loan is for, it's for the wastewater treatment project. And rural development, even though they've approved the long-term loan of $7,849,000, they're not going to give you that money up front. What they want you to do is they want you to start the project, move the project along, spend the money, borrow the money, spend the money, get the project substantially complete, and then they'll give you the long-term loan. So you need a reason or a way to bridge that $7,849,000 during the construction period. So this loan will give you that flexibility. It was marketed today, including the costs of the transaction, Coral's fee, which you approved earlier, the underwriter's discount, and the Moody's cost. The total interest rate with those costs was 1.75% for a loan that matures in December of 2000. I'm sorry, is it December? Right? No, I forgot. It matures in, bear with me here, in June of 2017. But it's callable in June of 2016, which means that if your project is substantially complete by the time June of 16 rolls around, you can roll into the long-term loan with rural development. If you need more time, you have a full year from that period of time to get the project substantially complete and taken out with rural development. So we felt that a year flexibility was more than adequate to allow you to get to that point. Hopefully in June you'll be at a point where you can roll into the long-term loan, but if not, you've got the flexibility to move forward. So we're really happy with the way that loan progressed. The fact that it was a note anticipation note. You technically pledged some of your general obligation capacity. So you said that we're going to set aside $7,850,000 for the next year and a half for this if we need it. Knowing that you're not going to use your general obligation capacity, you're going to use the rural development loan. But that gave it a little better security, and so it brought the interest rate down. Again, you've managed your debt position well enough that you have the ability to use that as a credit feature, and I think it paid off. So that was the reason for that structure. So that's, in summary, the $7,850,000 resolution for the note anticipation notes. Would you like me just to continue with the other loan? So the second loan is for $1,250,000. It's a geo-promissory note, and that is more similar to other projects you've done in the past. This loan is for two purposes. The first purpose is $905,000 was borrowed for capital projects, for your capital project plan, and that's going to be paid off over the next 4.5 years through the year 2019. And in addition to that, we looked at a 1996 borrowing. There was roughly $420,000 of bonds outstanding that were outstanding at a rate of 4.1% that could be called. So we looked at what the extra cost of doing that refunding would be, and the extra cost of doing that refunding was about $5,000. You spent an additional $5,000 to save $10,000. Normally we wouldn't have done that on its own, but because you were doing this loan at the same time, we felt it was reasonable and prudent to take care of that now, because that existing loan only is outstanding for another 3 years. If you don't take advantage of the savings now, you might not have the opportunity down the road. So we just felt like it made sense to do that now. So this loan represents a portion of that refinancing, as well as the capital projects. This loan, the all-in interest rate with all costs included in that was 2.56%. And that was certainly in line with all the projections that we've been talking about, along with Ramon and I have been, working with the spreadsheet and keeping that up to date. So.
Kevin, just generally, what was left to pay back in the 96 borrowing?
Excuse me?
Do you know what the dollar amount was left to be paid back in the 96 borrowing?
Roughly $420,000.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Could I ask one question here?
Sure.
Line item 10 says $1,260,000 here. It says 150. Is that interest on that, or is that a typo?
That was a sizing. So we made an estimate as to what was going to be necessary for the refinancing.
Okay.
We guessed high, came in a little bit lower, so
okay.
We needed a little bit less. So it just the total borrowing amount went down.
So that this motion then, if adopted, would be the 1,250. Okay, correct. Thank you.
Good question. You can even ask another.
I'm good, thanks.
Okay, everybody understands what both these resolutions are?
Well, it's kind of a good little capture, or what's been going on over the years and where we're at now, and what's been going on with our. I remember 20-some years ago we made that deal for our general fund and our budgets, and to keep that stuff going, it paid off nowadays.
Oh yeah, and it's really evident when for me, I'm a little geeky this way. I like to year over year kind of revisit with the analysts, where we've been, and if you look at what you've said you were going to do 10 years ago, you've done it. And it's nice to see that, nice to know that, the people at this table are people that have made, by and large, those decisions, and you're reaping the benefit in terms of credit quality and market access through those decisions. So, it's just nice to kind of see it bear out.
Okay, we got a motion and a second on the first borrowing for the $7.85 million. Any further discussion on that one? Hearing none, roll call.
Mark Walnuts?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Chris Walnuts?
Yes.
Mapes?
Yes.
McIntyre?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to adopt, sorry.
Go ahead.
Motion to adopt City of Edgerton Resolution 1507, authorizing the issuance and sale of $1.25 million in general obligation promissory notes.
Second.
Any further discussion on that motion?
1.250?
Yes. Came in less than
Okay.
was estimated.
Agenda's saying different.
Right.
Yep.
It is. The resolution here has it at the $1.25 million. Anyone else?
Lower, which is good.
Roll call.
Mark Walnuts?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Chris Walnuts?
Yes.
Mapes?
Yes.
McIntyre?
Yes.
And that motion passes. Thank you. Thanks for
Thanks.
coming
You did
down
a nice
again.
job explaining all this.
Yeah.
That helped.
Next item is Mayor, Alderperson, and staff reports. Summer's over, Tobacco Days is over. It's all downhill from here.
You just started.
Looked like pretty decent, other than some little rainy weather occasionally through the weekend. Clara's Dolls, I believe, is having their 5-year anniversary. I think the date is August 5th for the 5th-year anniversary, but that week sometime is 5 years for Clara's Dolls being out there. So go out there and get some doll clothes. Anybody else?
Yeah, I went to all 3 events at Tobacco Days, you know, it went good. You know, some years are better than others and stuff, but it went off with no big any bad behavior type stuff. That's kind of a key thing too, you know. Years ago, we always had image and all this stuff. You know.
Does that mean you're getting older?
It must be. You know? I can't remember the first one back in.
How did the racetrack park come out?
Regard.
I mean, people were driving everywhere, even after it rained.
Central Park and that. Okay, just take a step. I didn't drive on any of it, just so you know, Tom.
With your big
The way in or
Harley.
the way out.
I didn't drive at all. I was with my nephew. He did all the driving.
I was starting to think that summer's just starting now. You know, all the festivals are just.
Anybody want to get out of here?
Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All kinds of them. Any seconds?
Second. I'll second that.
Second, third, fourth, fifth.
I don't know who you got down there, but all in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?